It's a no sound effects Gratcast this week, folks.
Let's see if we even have sound at all this week. Oh,
We are doing an attempted new setup, trying some different things here before John comes back next week. And
what's John up to this week? What's John been up to for 2 weeks?
Well,
That's a better question. We weren't here last week because it was Christmas. And we tried, but we were having a little bit of technical difficulties and we decided wasn't going to do it.
we're trying to work in the new setup where we'll be able to have guests and stuff join in the show. Unfortunately, it's off to a rough and rocky start. We're trying to test it out tonight. So if you are watching the show and you do want to try and join us and you have Chrome and an Android device or a laptop, you can join us by right below me. Should be the little link here. And it's gridfam.com/Gratwick, PRODINC. You join that little link, and through the browser, you can join the show on Twitter. You'll appear right here in a little box, and we'll have you on the show. So if anyone wants to try that out while you're watching tonight, hit that up, and let's see if it works, because this is...
Something new, something exciting.
I've been working on this all day, dear.
So many products and new software all say they can do these amazing things, and they fib.
Yeah.
There's the potential. They just don't currently do that.
Today was also supposed to be the first day of putting Gratcast on Restream, so it would be on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch all at the same time. We didn't get that far yet, so that's gonna.
But
have to
we're
be ready
usually
for John.
on YouTube anyway, right?
No, well, it's usually reposted to YouTube. It's not live on YouTube. So what we're heading towards is to be able to have guests on here, to be able to have a chat, so people can all chat in the same place, regardless of which platform they're watching it. Really nice and interactive, but we're a couple steps away still.
Interaction between the platforms. I hear that's something difficult for the video games, so you would think it would be even more difficult for live streaming, podcasts, guests, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, we've got it mostly worked out. It's just we've got to test out the guests and see how it works with people coming in and out before we go big time with it. So, Andrea, tonight's New Year's Eve.
John is working.
John is always working.
That is why I am here. I am your surprise. Surprise!
John has promised us, though, that he will have his bosses in check come the new year. So we're hoping for that.
Oh, yes. Everyone hopes they can put their bosses in check by the new year. That is the resolution for all.
New guests, a more consistent John, some better technology. We're going to be kicking the show up a notch. We might even have to take the show to 2 hours a week.
Oh.
We're going to have commercials, all sorts of stuff that's got to start being rolled in.
Or you just tighten up the content you have in between commercials. Just tighten that shit up.
Yeah, we need to tighten up for sure. We were almost going to have no headphones, too. Tried these little Bluetooth earbuds. Wanted to try those guys.
Can I just ask, now that I'm on this end with the headphones on, like before I understood when there was no screen, but we're right here. I can hear you.
Well, yes, but this was normal.
Like, does anyone else feel like that's just kind of ridiculous when you know that...
Hold up. If a guest joins the show, you're going to need the headphones to hear them.
I will totally put it on. That'll be the cue to everyone watching that, oh, something's happening.
And
They're
number
moving.
2, when there's sound effects happening, you need to hear it through this. But
I believe on the last time I was here, I didn't have headphones on because there weren't an extra set, and someone decided to sound effect me out.
well, the good news is you're going to have your own little off-camera mic now that has a mute and on and off button. So it'll be much easier for you to join the show.
So I can mute
off-camera.
you?
No, you can.
Oh.
When you're not jumping in and chiming in, you'll be able to just hit that little mute button. And if you're clicking away or whatever, nobody's going to hear. But then when we jump in the show, they'll be able to hear you. It's going to be beautiful. It's all here and ready to go. We just got to keep getting these extra steps in place. So, Andrea, let's discuss New Year's.
It's New Year's Eve.
Any special New Year's memories?
Almost 8 years ago, we had Bear for about a full week or so. That was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had the bear. We talked about this a little bit the other day. I'm going to bring it up here again because it's New Year's Eve, and this is when you talk about such things. If there was ever a code word for our generation, now Andrew doesn't really fall into this because she grew up in Iowa and she wants to pretend like this isn't a trigger word for her. But we all know what we're talking about when somebody says millennium. So,
Say the word again.
millennium.
Okay. And
Yeah.
if anyone is listening or watching later and would like to make a comment,
If they don't
now
know
would
what
be a good time.
if they don't know what millennium is, they're not supposed to know what millennium is. That's why it's the perfect trigger word for our generation. It's like if we had the XYZ secret club and there was a knock and you had to give the password would be millennium because only us know about it. We know what the millennium is. Hold up, wait a minute, it is. Nah. See, this is where if we were super technologically advanced, I'd play a little clip from Millennium right now, and everybody like, oh yeah, that's my generation.
Yep.
So
you think that encapsulates
where I was going
the
with this,
pre-millennials?
where I was going with this though is, what is your favorite New Year's Eve memory? And you don't look nearly as cool without the headphones on. It doesn't look like you're really doing a podcast if you're not wearing headphones. Yeah, now you look like a podcaster. Yeah.
Let's see.
Podcasting Andrea. Telling us about her favorite New Year's Eve memory.
New Year's Eve memory would have been in high school. It started the night hanging out by myself in my bedroom. Then a friend I completely wasn't expecting came from another town to visit, which in Iowa actually matters because it's snowy and cold and dark out, and someone was willing to drive 30 miles. And then crashed again by another group of friends who were having a party apparently without me. And something happened where they had to leave the home in which they were busted at, so they all came to our house.
After
And
party.
pretty much, except it was still pretty early. So they came over to my house thinking I'd be doing nothing, and I was like, hey, you're interrupting. But okay, welcome, join the party. Yeah, so that was my nice one.
What were they interrupting?
Me hanging out with the person who actually wanted to hang out with me.
Oh.
Someone apparently cared enough to show up first and not have a party without me and then be like, oh, her parents wouldn't mind if we came over to her house.
All right, then.
So, that was nice.
My favorite New Year's Eve is actually the Millennium one. The Millennium 99 to 2000. So there was the big Y2K crisis that everyone was worried about there back in 2000.
99.
For those that don't know, the younger generations here, it was a big panic and people were in an uproar because they thought when the computers went from 12/31/99 to 1/1/2000, it was going to be a meltdown, global meltdown. Unlike nothing you've ever seen. 2012 had nothing on Y2K. So, not because of Y2K, but as an added benefit in case all hell broke loose from Y2K, our family went into the mountains. We stayed in a cabin. My dad's buddy had a cabin. There was no electricity.
Now I understand. This is what you wanted to do in 2012, also right before.
Well, yeah, because it was dude, it was so much fun.
Everyone take to the hills.
We played.
I get it. They did that with you when you were a kid.
But we weren't like worried about Y2K. Our uncle had a cabin in the woods, and we went there all the time anyway. And it was snowy, and we had fires, and we had candlelight, and we played cards all night, and listened to the ball drop on the radio, and it was the coolest New Year's I've ever experienced. I loved it out in the woods, and if all hell broke loose, we were in a perfect place to be,
where no one knew where you were.
Yeah, exactly. That's where you want to be.
There you go.
You don't want them to know where you are when hell breaks loose.
Well, I'm wondering if we can just add some of our Discord questions in right away. I mean, that's pretty much what this show is for. Our lovely Discord people gave us questions last week for Christmas, and we didn't have our Christmas show.
Christmas questions.
And they've built up to New Year's questions, so could we just, toss them in? Because our week has just been pretty much trying to,
get ready for the new year.
The year.
We do have a lot of things that are going to start rolling out over the New Year's, which is why we're trying to get this technology and stuff all ironed out so we can start layering this stuff into everything that we're doing. So let's knock out the Discord questions here. Wish everybody a happy New Year and get on with it, and we'll be back bigger and stronger next week.
Fantastic. Okay.
I may have a bullet blitz
so
for you, though.
This one's a topic, and it's going to be a somewhat serious topic. So
Oh.
just to let everyone know, in a year in review kind of thing. How many of you know about the GoFundMe page that has already raised over $13 million in
wall?
donations?
For the wall?
Yep.
It's up to $18 million. Long way from $1 billion.
So, two things. One, don't we all have better things we could do with our own money? Like, honestly, I'm sure your kids need a new pair of shoes. You probably need a new pair of shoes. Like,
These satirical
basic things.
GoFundMes are never ending and ridiculous.
But I would like to know, is there a deadline for that? Like, what happens when it doesn't reach the $1 billion goal? Does everyone get their money back? Are you on a list for having signed up now?
That's why it's a joke GoFundMe, because if they don't hit the number, everyone gets their money back. They already said it in there and all of that. So no one, ultimately, it's just, haha, I donated to the wall, and the wall never got made. What's the question in there?
I don't even know if there's an appropriate speech.
Well, I'm going to tell you something
Why?
that I saw about the wall the other day. That's unbelievable.
Someone else promised it would be paid a different way, and if it was going to, why are you making a fund for something that's supposed to have its own funds already?
Here's the thing.
What?
Now, somebody did the math on this, and based on what the federal budget is, and regardless of whether you're for it or against it, when it comes
For
to
it. For it or against it.
whether it comes to the wall, I could give a rat's ass. I mean, it's just like any other thing. You find a method to police something, the criminals are going to find a method to get around something, and you got to keep playing that cat-mouse game forever. So the wall, I have no opinion on. But this whole shutting down the government for the wall, somebody did the math on it, and apparently the government has something like a $4 trillion budget per year. So the $5 billion being asked for the wall, while it sounds like, $5 billion, an absurdly ridiculous number here and all of that, when it breaks down to the percentages with the government's budget, it's basically somebody making $400,000 a year arguing over $500. Or more into the blue collar side, it's a family like a $40,000 a year income arguing over a $50 expenditure on whether or not one person has the right to spend that $50 or not. That's the type of pennies that they're using as a political football to shut down the entire government and argue over when you run the numbers on it.
I thought the political football part of it was, who the hell gets to decide who gets to build a wall unless you own that property? Like, if your backyard is up there, you're allowed...
America owns America.
Well, who owns that part of the land?
America? Do we have any actual Discord questions?
Yeah, we do. All right.
Excellent.
So anyway, Misery and Mayhem, that topic.
Getting
all right.
cold here in Times Square.
Brr. All right.
Where did people go to the bathroom in Times Square when there's just millions and millions of people all over the place, all packed in the same place? That is the single biggest reason why I would never go to Times Square for New Year's, is the bathroom situation seems mind-numbing. That and the fact that it could potentially be one of the biggest targets that's ever lived in the history of mankind is New Year's
you
Eve.
jinxed it.
It's ridiculous.
On the wood.
But bathrooms and Target, I'm not going there. And you're standing out in the snow. You got to get there hours early.
You know, if you get there hours early, though, you can't get through everyone to get to the stores that actually offer bathrooms. So the smarter people...
Those stores aren't letting people use the bathrooms on that day.
You go into Hard Rock Cafe with a 20 to the bar, you get a shot, and you use the bathroom. And look at that. They have the hand dryer, so now your hands are
You know how long it's going to
warm.
take you to get to the bar to get that shot? Never.
They have girls going around with the little thing. That's all you need to do is have an empty
That's not
cup
gonna
in your
get you in
hand
the
on your
bathroom.
way. An empty cup shows you've been there.
No.
Mm-hmm. Because Chris has done it before.
I've thought about the logistics every single year. And as long as we're talking about New Year's Eve logistics, honey, it's time for my yearly rant about what the hell's going on with West Coast New Year's.
Well,
every year I talk about this.
I looked for the ball drop. I was trying to get us a ball drop for the show, because my idea was that we could go on at 9 o'clock, at 10 o'clock, and then at midnight, our time midnight, and then everybody got the ball to drop, because apparently New York has it all.
Here's the beef. For those that don't know, There's the Rockin'
Everyone.
New Year's Eve party that counts down to midnight on the East Coast, which is 9 p.m. on the West Coast. And so the whole lead up to midnight on the East Coast, they're cutting to the West Coast. So, hey, here's so-and-so partying at our party at the Staples Center. Here's all sorts of people performing live at our party in Vegas. So you've got parties already going on the West Coast. You've got the Vegas party. You've got the Staples Center party. All this stuff is happening. So you figure once 9 p.m. hits on the West Coast, 12 p.m. on the East Coast, now it's the West Coast time to start counting down to the parties and all of this and checking in and all these things happening. No, that is not what happens. At 9 o'clock, the West Coast parties shut down completely. They're home and in bed by midnight, and they're replaying the East Coast one every single year. Seattle doesn't even have a live ball drop. Burbank doesn't even have a live ball drop. Hell, North Tonawanda has a ball drop. But nobody on the East Coast or on the West Coast can figure out a ball drop? Get a live stream going here? I've been saying it for years, honey. We need string and tinfoil and get this thing going on. And each year I keep putting it off more and more. And sooner or later we're going to have Gratwick's Rockin' West Coast Eve New Year's party, dear.
We could probably make an erector set one. It's like a little erector set where we just...
Why is there no ball drop on the West Coast? It makes no sense.
I think it's because we have too many lights on already. So you wouldn't be able to even see where it's coming from distinctly. Yes.
Next Discord question? Was there
Discord
a Discord question there?
Yes, we have two of them. You started in with that one. That wasn't even
Every year it
Discord
chaps my ass, dear.
Okay. Sammy says, recently in her Facebook memories, there were a lot of things about groups hacking Hollywood studios and threatening to leak scripts and whole movies. Last time she saw something that happened like that, it was when people hacked Game of Thrones and released the episode ahead of time. Do you think people have finally learned their lesson and started doing their projects offline or on computers that are not connected to the internet so they can no longer be hacked? Are people doing it by hand? Clickety typewriter. I like that idea.
I don't think they're doing it typewriter, but I think there's a lot of conscious efforts to air gap. And what that basically means is there's either
a computer that's never been connected to the internet.
Yeah, or it's an internal network that it's only
a VPN still can be hacked. You put yourself out there on the network, you can get hacked.
Yeah, but I'm also on record as, you know what? If people care that much about our scripts and our content that they want to see in early versions of it and all that, more power to them. If they read the script, they're going to want to see the movie because then they're going to want to see how similar it was and all of that. So anyone that's that passionate about spoiling the story for themselves is not going to be stopped from seeing the story no matter what. It's kind of like when that hack came out of... remember, we watched it together. The X-Men movie, Wolverine Origins, and like the special effects were half finished.
Yep.
What was the first thing we did when the movie came out? Now we gotta
watch. Still watched it. Yeah. We wanted to see the difference between, I know what the bare minimum was. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Even then.
Got to see the little cut-out bodies tumbling around before they put the
CGI spheres and versions of a body. I mean, it worked. It was just fine. The story didn't change any. I like the idea, though, of someone wanting to read the script. Kind of like reading the book before it's been turned into a movie. Like, it's nice to know what the intention was of the writer before the editor got to it and decided he was doing whatever he wanted to do. Because I've heard editors think that way, too, though. That, you can have your own thing, but I decide how the movie's going to be in the end. Like, that's worrisome.
Yeah. At the end, I just think you do what you can to protect your content and protect it in the most sane and sensible, secure way. And if something, God forbid, happens, you roll with it. Use it as a marketing angle.
There you go. Didn't that happen to Tarantino? I thought that happened to one of his more recent movies that just got released, too. He delayed it like an extra year from being made. He stopped casting.
There was the Hateful Eight,
really
I think
pissed about it. That might have been the one that most of it was released, and he was pissed. And then he said he was changing the script, and he took it a little hardcore.
I got nothing off the cuff on that.
Okay, so the last Discord question we have, and it's from Sammy, and it is a New Year's Eve question specifically for the show. What is your favorite, not necessarily the best, movie of the year? in your opinion? Favorite. You would watch it again and again. Of 2018.
This came up like fairly recently as well, and there hasn't been too many 2018 movies that I've broken down the doors to go see.
But you've seen some on the airplanes. You've seen some.
Yeah,
like,
but I don't know. I don't know
online.
what falls under 2017, falls under 2018. It's kind of blurry
Original
all in there.
content.
I'm gonna. Two movies stick out to me.
Okay.
Ready Player One, I liked more than I thought I was gonna like.
What did you like about
I'm
it?
pretty sure it's 2018.
It is 2018.
Ironically, what I liked about it is also the thing that I felt like was a little short on it. I thought the whole thing was just gonna be a nostalgia overload. And there was a lot of recognizable things in there, but they didn't use any of those recognizable things in jokes or puns or satirical spins on the stories or the IP that those things were from.
Is that because they would have to pay?
No, because they obviously paid. You already have the DeLorean in the movie.
But like,
and
if
all
they
that.
wanted to use like Pac-Man or
Those were all of those things were already in the movie, but I'm saying they didn't make any jokes or any kind of tip of the hats or anything. Like there's no DeLorean jokes when you're driving around the DeLorean the whole time. You already paid
let's
for
get it up to 88.
something. Like that's the best part about having all of this different IPs. You can make all sorts of different jokes and puns about them. So that was kind of the disappointing part about it, but at the same time, I think one of the reasons I liked it is because it wasn't just, hey, remember this? Hey, remember this? Hey, remember this? It was all there. But I think they could have done a little more member berries is what I would have liked to see. And then another good movie that I liked, and it's one of the fewer ones I know from 2018, but I have a real problem with the manipulation that I think the director continues to do, is Vice. We went to see it at the theater. So it probably won't shock you to know.
It's one of your favorites though? Like you would watch it again?
I thought it was one of the ones I know was in 2018 and was a good movie. But my issue is the director continues to try to manipulate everybody by putting a little bit of humor into his movies so he can take a serious topic and stick it into the comedy sections. So he cleans house every time his movies come out in awards season because you're playing games that you think we're all idiots.
Because if he does cute offsides or,
Yeah.
isn't that how we would have liked the story to end? But no. Ha ha ha. Let me put in text up here and then everyone can just laugh together.
So perfect example is he made The Big Short. The Big Short was about the 2008 economic boom or collapse of the mortgage bubble. Not really a funny ha-ha topic, but he put some satire and some sarcasm in there and tells the whole thing. But because it's a great, powerful movie about a powerful subject, it cleans house in award season for best comedy. Really? It's not really...
It wasn't a comedy at all. It was a drama.
And now we've got this movie about Cheney, who's like a war criminal for most people would consider him. And more notifications and things going off in this episode than ever before. And he's got this whole bad reputation and everything. And they throw us a couple jokes in there, and now it's sweeping the award season because it's a comedy.
It's not funny. We saw it. Let's just say people didn't laugh very much, but they definitely left quiet. It doesn't leave a good feeling in your stomach, let's just say. But speaking of comedies, I think the movie Life of the Party. The McCarthy,
Melissa McCarthy?
Yes! Okay, so there's the movie, and it's kind of like Back to School, the Rodney Dangerfield Back to School, Life of the Party.
Unfortunately, not nearly enough like Back to School.
No, because if you watch Back to School now... but...
Those are girls.
I
Girls, this is
enjoyed
Lou.
Life of the Party. Made me laugh out loud.
Melon,
was
get your
very
trunks! Yeah, there's not one memorable line that you're throwing around from... What was it?
No, it's still a new movie,
What was
so
the name of
there
that
aren't
movie?
memorable lines, but you can be rude. That's cool.
I'm just throwing Back to School flashbacks.
You see
in there.
this? This will be remembered tonight at midnight when someone decides he wants a kiss to start the new year
Tip
nice.
of the hat to what a great movie Back to School was.
Tip of the hat to you. sir.
I could throw out freaking lines from that movie all day long. Dead Man's Party. That's first time I've ever heard Dead Man's Party.
Okay. Well, either way, my one that I was answering the question with was, if you haven't seen it, it's very funny. It's actually a comedy. I enjoyed it. Very lighthearted. Life of the Party. Yeah. So those are our Discord questions.
Are we all out of Discord questions?
Yep. Very
Discord
happy
questions!
Yes.
Okay. Let's do one bullet blitz each and get out of here. Do you want to go first or second?
Second.
Okay. My bullet blitz for you is, if you had to live in one state other than California, where would it be?
Bliss.
That's not a state.
It is.
No.
Thank you. I win.
No.
You?
No, that's not a state.
No, it really is.
No.
Delusion.
You're already
Ignorance.
a long-standing resident of Delusionville.
Well, I do live with you. Ha ha ha.
Uh-oh.
I win. So, Chris, I'm guessing yours would already be somewhere you've lived before.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think you've kind of told people that you would go back to a certain state.
New York and Georgia are the easy ones, but I don't know. I could see myself in Tennessee. Tennessee, take me to another place. Take me to another world.
What about Tennessee strikes you?
I think I'll play a game. A game of horseshoes. The mountains.
Okay. I don't know where your Game of Horseshoes song came from, but okay.
Can I just say, it doesn't matter how many times we sweep this rug, somehow Bear always finds something to crunch on and eat off the floor. Just going around like we fed him a treat.
Yep. He's right beneath our feet, just in case anyone doesn't.
You still haven't answered the question.
Another state I would like to live in. Everywhere has weather.
Yep.
That's my issue, everyone.
Weather is kind of a side effect of living on a planet.
But we don't really have weather. We have wind on occasion.
Wind falls under a subsection of weather.
I don't... Louisiana.
Okay.
I like New Orleans.
Hot, sticky Louisiana.
And I like their food.
All right. Mm-hmm. Have you bought enough time? Bear, how could you possibly be chewing this much? Have you bought yourself enough time to come up with a bullet blitz?
Oh. I forgot I had to come up with one still. Converse amongst yourselves with the people. Talk to people for a minute.
Nobody jumped into our Twitter video chat, so there's nobody for me to converse with other than you, my dear.
Okay. If you had to pick a different Twitter handle than the one you have, and it can't be a real name, what little phrase would your Twitter handle be?
Trent Masters.
No, can't be a real name.
That's not a real name.
It's a name.
It's not a real name.
I said it has to be a phrase. If I can't have the state of bliss, delusion, or ignorance, you can't have a person's real... no. Again.
That's Trent Masters. Masters of Trent?
Masters of the Trentiverse?
I don't know, dear. What would yours be?
Still looking for answers.
You're not going to go retro? A little throwback to the old happy-go-lucky?
No longer happy-go-lucky. But I am now.
I took care of that.
Still looking for answers.
Yeah. All right. Are you good with wrapping this show up?
I don't know. Is everyone else good with watching us on our New Year's Eve episode?
Yes. This has been the first edition of the Gratwick Rockin' New Year's Eve special.
Very glad to say it's the last episode of 2018 instead of the first episode of 2019.
Even worse than the establishment. We're shutting down way before midnight.
It only gets better from here, people.
Yeah. If you're lucky...
Low expectations, so next year we skyrocket.
If you're lucky and I get Andrea really drunk, I'll push her back on camera here around midnight.
That sounded creepy as hell. Yeah. And just so everyone knows, we don't have any alcohol in the house, so isn't he soft?
That's why we gotta go hunting. We gotta go find some.
Mm-hmm. All right, everybody. Happy New Year's. Be safe. Be warm. Enjoy the new year. Thank you for joining us and being our
exit
friends.
music this week, and I'm gonna spare everybody from me singing us out the intro.
Lucky us.